welcome to one of our brand new series that we have here at PSJ ISD. It's called Tech Bites. What we're going to be doing during this kind of lunchtime, lunch hour, is talk to a couple. We have a science coordinator and a science curriculum strategist that we're going to kind of pick their brain a little bit, see what what their role and what technology does, how it's integrated together, and see how we work hand in hand. So I won't do the introduction. I'll let you all do it. So please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you both do here at PSJ.
Do you want to go first, Tim?
No, Jessica, you should go first.
Hi, I'm Jessica Moore. I'm the coordinator for science for middle school. And what do I do? When I saw that question that you said, Margot, what is it that you do at PSJ? It's probably easier if I tell you what I don't do, right? I know we all feel that way, but I feel like I do everything that deals with curriculum, with science. I do data. I do it all. But really, what I'm here for is to help teachers. Whenever teachers reach out to me, and I do not mind at any hour, I try to get back to them as soon as possible because I remember what it was like to be a teacher. Every minute counts, especially when you're in the classroom. So to me, that is the bread and butter of what I do, is try to help teachers, anything dealing with curriculum, assessment, anything science. Let Yomi take over.
Okay, so Yomara Garcia, most people call me Yomi. I am the curriculum specialist for science. What do I do? I do what my boss wants me to do. She hates when I say that. She's my boss. I love my boss. I do right now, number one thing that I'm doing is trying to create curriculum for 6th grade because we are changing our TEKS. I help out with going to the schools, supporting the teachers. Right now, one of the things that I get asked a lot, well, before the benchmark, was helping fixing lessons for student success, or also for teacher success, and so they could get the most points possible on a TIA evaluation. And now with the benchmark, it's been like, well, how do you think it's going to be tested, right? That kind of, how can I help my kids learn it? That's basically what I do. And anything Jessica needs me to do, I'm there for her, always.
Wow, a lot of different roles that you both have, which is amazing. And I know that with Benchworks just finishing recently, you all are probably swamped. So I thank you for your time for being here. And this is going to be short, so I know you'll get back on that data as soon as this is over. But let's go on to the next question. So in this past school year, Jessica, the coordinators and the curriculum department were able to hire some curriculum specialists before the school year began. How does that help overall for the curriculum process? How's it changed?
It's amazing. It's awesome. I have to say, specifically in our middle school coordinator office here, all of our specialists have been godsends. I mean, I don't know how, and then they say it to us all the time, we don't know how we did this job without them before. It's because this job, and it's the same for you, I know in the instructional and technology department, it never ends. Like, you're always doing something, you're always working, or you're always thinking of what's the next thing I need to do. So now that I have Yomi with me, it's not only can I bounce ideas off of her, which is a big thing when you're writing curriculum and you're no longer in the classroom, right? I've got somebody with that classroom experience coming in from last year. She was a teacher at LBJ, and so she was just in it. So it's great to bounce ideas off it with her, but it's also she helps me with everything. I mean, we're going through a textbook adoption this year, so we've got new TEKS coming in, as she mentioned, and she just comes with so much experience. She's taught all 3 levels. So that is super helpful when it comes to looking at these new TEKS, because some of our new TEKS are coming from elementary up, or they're coming down from high school. And so it's a lot of changes, things that I was in the classroom for 12, 13 years, and even then I still, I don't know absolutely everything. And so she helps me out so much with that. And then of course the textbook adoption, as I mentioned, that's another big task that's coming up. So it's just nice to have somebody to help with all of the heavy lifting around here. And one last thing is that she gets to go, and this is the most important thing. She just did it today too. Is she gets to actually go to the classes, to the classrooms more often to see teachers in action. And so she sees teachers, she sees what teachers need, she gets feedback from teachers, she gets feedback from students sometimes. And that can make those real-time changes in our curriculum because, you know, it's helping our curriculum evolve day to day. Every time she observes a teacher, she comes back with something, hey, we can implement this, or we need to do this, or, you know, so it's great to have her out there as often as she is, because sometimes, as you know, in our role, it's difficult. We get called to meetings, we're here left and right, and I don't get to be in the classroom as often as I would like to.
That's awesome. So Yolanda, you're the boots on the ground, and also it's always fun to hang out with you because when I see you building the curriculum, I think of a Tasmanian devil. You're able to get it done like real quick, real rapidly, and it's amazing content that you get to put together while Jessica is doing, you know, maybe benchmark data. So it's awesome. So that is really awesome.
I will say that she also does the tests, and that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we kept separate, because little church, you know, little thing about church and state, you know, keeping it separate, because I want to be able to teach that TEK and not look back at the, oh, let me teach it like this because this is how the question's going to be. No, I want her to make that benchmark or that test or that quiz, and that way I'm teaching the TEK so that the kids are learning the whole thing. And then in review, then we can go into it a little bit more to see how was it tested or whatever. But I do keep in mind the way it was tested before, but like how it's tested, I don't want to look, I hate looking at tests because I feel like I'll teach to that question because, oh my God, that question's so hard. How can I show, you know? So I try to keep it all the TEK, and that way she's doing the questions. And then later on we can go back, you know, on post, you know, test. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I like how you use that separation of church and state because my background is all government, and so that's all all about there. That is awesome. Let me go on to the next question. So since 2020, since COVID occurred, you know, we all experienced going from the classroom to purely on a computer, and then our district became a one-to-one district, which, you know, there's a lot of pros. There's a lot of pros when it comes to that. I want to ask you all, how has technology been utilized in your curriculum writing pretty much since COVID?
I'm going to take this one.
Yeah.
And so let's be honest. If you know me, you know I hate computers, or more, computers hate me. It's a relationship that is not built on love at all. But if I wanted to do what was best for my kids, I knew that I needed to get a hold of this thing that we're on. It was horrible, and have that mind shift for the benefit of my kids. Because when this happened, of course, I was in the classroom, and I'll say it again, technology is great for everybody else but me, because it always goes wrong. And moving away from pencil and paper, we needed to do that because we had just heard the year prior that we were going into a 2.0 testing for STAR. And that was just, what is that? What do you mean online testing? It's never going to happen. We kept saying it's never. COVID hit. And in a way, it was kind of a blessing, because then it gave me as a teacher the ability to change, you know, the mind shift that you have to do to teach on this thing. Because this thing is it's a beast. There's so much that you can do with a computer, and there's also so much that you could do wrong with it, I guess. But I think going one-to-one allowed for us to be ready for this online testing, for this new 2.0 assessment that STAR was doing. I will say that, you know, moving away from the pen and paper and going into the computer wouldn't have been very easy for us if we hadn't had COVID, if we hadn't been forced, because you had to, that, like I said, that mind shift, was forced upon you. And though a lot of teachers, me included, don't like change unless we do it, it happens a lot faster when you are given no option. Let's be honest, we had no option. How else was I going to do this? And so coming up with ideas to keep our kids, I mean, the first couple of that, the first semester when we went into it, I couldn't get kids to talk to me, to look at me, to even want to log in. And I think when we went the next year, which was the full year that we were really online, using those, hotspots and drag and drops and uh, click and pulls and trying to get the kids engaged into talking, at least talking. I think that helped us to be ready for the 2.0 testing that we have been doing since last year.
And
That's okay. Go ahead.
oh yeah, no, yeah, and you're absolutely right. Even with the technology that we have, Start 2.0 was still pretty tough on the students. And
So
imagine if we hadn't been one-to-one.
of course, and Jess and I were just talking. Do you realize that 2.0 was just administered last year? It feels like 10 years ago, but it was just last year that we, but because of COVID, we were really working hard on getting that, those drag and drops and the actually working on a computer. Because if we want our kids to be successful, they should be doing all their quizzes and all their tests on the computer, because
Right.
it's not going to be pen and paper anymore.
And have you seen a kind of do you have a response for that, Jessica? Because also I do know prior to COVID, I know you taught at Escalante and stuff like that. So when you opened up the curriculum prior to COVID, and then you're opening up the curriculum post COVID, like how did it, in your opinion, like how different was it? What was the change like?
So, yeah, I wasn't like Yomara. I mean, I guess when we went one-to-one, I was very happy with that because it wasn't a hate relationship, if you want to say, because I love computers, I love technology. It was just, I think the hardest thing was adapting it in the classroom. Now all of a sudden students have that device behind, their heads, and there's distractions and there's so many other things that come along with it. Does it help boost engagement? Does it help with getting students ready for Start 2.0? 100%. But now we're faced with all these things. There's cheating happening, all these little things. So we're finding new ways. We just have to adapt. The kids find any way, and we can talk about that later when Yomi's showing some of her stuff, the curriculum. We'll talk about how we're getting around student cheating and things like that. But and I agree, COVID, it was horrible. I did not like staying at home. I was pregnant at the time. I did not like teaching from home, but I am thankful that I did get that experience of teaching from home, teaching during COVID, teaching post COVID. That first year after COVID, when we came back, was a doozy. That was the toughest year of my life. I felt like a brand new teacher. So I am so thankful that we're past that time, because a lot has changed since then. But going to what you said, like, what did the curriculum look like before versus after? Before, our curriculum was just so static. It was just a PDF uploaded on SharePoint. No hate to SharePoint, but sorry, but
I'm not sorry.
but no, I'm not a fan of SharePoint as much anymore. But yeah, it was just a PDF, and if there was a problem with that PDF, if there was a mistake or anything like that, it took, quite a few steps to get it fixed. It wasn't like just, I can click and fix it. And now that we have everything on Google Drive, and they're live documents, when we come across these mistakes, and we do, we're human, we're going to make mistakes, or we have something new, we went to a Region 1 workshop and found something new, or we have a new tool we want to embed. It takes seconds to make those changes. So that's one thing that I really love about how technology has changed our curriculum, is that we can we can adapt on the fly. And then everybody gets it. I don't have to send out an email. I don't have to send out a text message, say, hey, check this out. It's already there. Teachers don't have to do anything but open it back up and it refreshes. So I think that's
Right.
to come out of COVID.
I totally agree with you, because when we were teaching and it was, COVID, where they go, oh, okay, we'll use the curriculum, but you're right. When you talk about static, and you're like, I can't translate this into the way that I want it, and it was very hard to edit and very hard to make it the way you really wanted to showcase it to the kids, because it was like, well, this is for like if they're in class, so I can't really do anything about it.
Right.
But yeah, I totally agree with you all. Let me, and then you were talking about that Yomi's going to show us some stuff. So let me kind of like segue in there. But before she does, I want to ask you both, what are some of your favorite ed tech tools that you put into the curriculum?
So I guess our favorite would have to be the Google Slides. I mean, everything is on Google Slides. And so, but the things that we put on there, like my all-time favorite right now is the GIFs. I love those GIFs. I know I showed you that changing the reading to where it's a picture to a GIF, game changer. And a lot of it has to do with, because a lot of the concepts in science are abstract. And so if they can see it in real world activities, it's a game changer, right? We also found that that it's beneficial for them to grasp the concept. The kids can grasp the concept. I'm not a big fan of Nearpod as she laughs, as a whole to the whole class, but I love a review, student-centered review Nearpod. Love those. Those I love. Okay, I'm gonna look at my papers because I don't want to get these, I don't want to miss any of them, because we do use a lot of them, but I do want to talk about word walls, Edpuzzle, quizzes, Kahoot, Brain Pop, and even something as simple as YouTube. These are things that can help engage. And the other thing is, we don't want to use one thing over and over and over again, because it becomes boring, just monotonous. And we don't want that to happen with the kids, but even teachers. I get bored very easily if we use the same thing over and over again. Sorry, not sorry. But also we use them so that way the teacher, like, let's say I give them slides and they want to change it to a Nearpod. We've done it with somewhere else. They already know where to find it. They know that they can do this, so they can change it. Oh, this questions and answers. You know what? I'm going to change it to a Kahoot, or I'm going to change it to a quizzes or a GimKit, or, there's so much, right? Or instead of doing, I already did this reading, but I want to give them a little more. Let me show them something in YouTube, right? Teachers can use the platforms that we've already put into the curriculum and enrich their classroom with any of the other platforms that we show them, right? What was the other thing? Oh, but the one that we love, 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 love this year is Edulastic. Edulastic has become our go-to for our entry or exit tickets, depending on how the teachers are using it. But we made it a point this year that they were going to have to get their kids onto Edulastic once a day. So at least they are doing some form, even if it's just clicking A, B, C, or D as the answer, but they also have, hit it, what is it? Multi-select Monday. We have
each day was different to hit a different item type.
Yeah, like Wednesday is Writing Wednesday. So they have an SCR to where they get the question and they have to, rewrite the question, answer it, give evidence, right? So that way they're going to be ready for this 2.0, right? And so Edulastic has been the best because it mimics the Cambian, which mimics the 2.0 STAR questions. I can't think of anything else I'm missing, Jess. Do you?
I agree. Edulastic's probably our favorite. Nearpod, we don't like as much. We do embed it though. One thing that's great about Nearpod is where students can respond with voice. Like they can speak into Nearpod and record themselves. That's great practice for TELPIS. So I know 6th and 7th grade love to use it. 8th grade is always very star oriented, so we're always pushing towards the stars. So one thing that we did start using in 8th grade this year is the Cambium system. So we have our unit assessments on Cambium for 8th grade. So that way they're getting that continual star practice. They're getting to practice with all the accessibility features on the platform. That way they're ready when, May comes around and they actually have to take the test. That's probably my other favorite thing. I know we talk a lot about assessment, but that's what drives our curriculum so much, and unfortunately. So we try to make it as engaging as possible, you know, and the technology is just here to help with that. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that, ladies. I love the applications you use. I know a majority of them, Yomi, that you said are free, and the district promotes a lot of the ones that you had mentioned. And I totally agree with, as far as an assessment standpoint, Edulastic is amazing. I'll invite you. We do have even though it's a different content, we toward the end, I believe toward the end of tomorrow's, we have a Unmute and Recharge. We have a math teacher that's going to showcase a little bit of what the premium version is and how it helps her in the classroom. So I'm sure you all kind of know about it, but if you want to see it in action, I'll definitely send you the links. But I totally agree, and that is a good program that will prepare the kiddos by the time they get to the benchmark. So I wish it would be utilized, you know, a lot in every content, so the students are very familiar. Alrighty, so with that being said, and you mentioned all those nice little apps and everything that you all use, would any of y'all mind sharing some of the curriculum with technology embedded?
So I'm going to share some of the things that I have from 6th, and I think I have something from 8th. I kind of did this in, I go to window, right? Not screen,
Yes,
window.
You could do share and then either window, oh, you could do screen, we'll do your own screen.
Yeah, I want to do screen so that way I can, oops, sorry. I don't have it ready. There we go. So if you know our pacing guides, right, we have in this little section right here, can you all, and first of all, am I presenting?
Yes.
Okay. So just to show you, look, there's little Nearpod. Now this one doesn't have one, but some of the other ones do. But you know, everything, see Tuesday, drop it like it's hot Tuesday. So we have our Edulastics on every multi-Monday. Yeah. Writing Wednesday, that's when they're going to take their unit assessment, right? And so that's basically a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. But let's just get into some of the curriculum things that I have gotten to make that I really liked. For instance, the true and false. I have some true and false little games that they can play, and I thought this was an easy way to show them, you know, here's the question, and then they just, you know, if it's true, it comes over, if it's false, you know, and so I thought this was a really fun way of the kids keeping engaged. This is a click and pull where it's the vocabulary word and you click and pull it. And the thing is, it's manipulating all of these different things so that the kids are more comfortable on the computer. That's what it comes down to, right? And so they have, you know, like this, is it going to be a transverse wave, or is it going to be a longitudinal wave, right? They would point to whatever it is, right? So those are your click and pulls. These were the ones I was talking about. Let me just show you, you know, contact or non-contact. And here is a way of showing them, is this a contact force or a non-contact force? And so they watch the little videos, right? These are not GIFs, these are videos that we put in there, and then they have the, so tell me these are not engaging. And, you know, they do have their pen and paper there, that they're still, you know, blended learning type of thing. We also have, and this is the one I was showing you like I think a month ago. So I took the reading from the book and they had a picture of it crashed. Well, why not show them in a GIF where they can honestly see, like, whoa, everything just goes in, right? Here's the balloon going across, right? It's just giving them the opportunity. And so these have been some of the things. And then again, this is in 8th grade, changing the questions of a Google. I'm sorry, let me go to the top. So there's question number 1. They need it for 8th grade. They need to know which Newton's law is this, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm sorry, 4, 1, 2, or 3, right? And so they go through it and they see the little GIF. These are ways that, because it's so abstract, you can see it in real life. And And that's all that I was going to show you. Sorry. There's the
Oh,
eighth
I
grade.
wanted to
I was
have
in eighth grade.
slides real quick and just show Marco how you've been we've been utilizing, it's kind of in PowerPoint they call it master slide. In
Oh, you want me to show
in
that? Okay.
Google Slides it's just called edit slide. But it's a way for, so when we first went one-to-one, or when we were teaching from home during COVID, we would make these slides and give them to students, and then the students would manipulate everything and move everything, and then it would mess everything up, and teachers were like, well, how are we going to fix this? You know, you had to set the background, right? So now instead of saving the image of the background, which was what we went through, we did that all the time. But that sets it, like we said, it's just stuck like that. A teacher can't make edits. The way we've been fixing that is we've been going around and using edit themes right there. So if you want to click it, you want me so you can show. So now we create our slides in the theme of the Google slide, right? And that way it's in the background. It's saved to where students can't edit it when they're looking at it in slide form, but teachers can still go in and edit it. And so this is where we were having some issues with cheating, because we were providing this to teachers with answers. And even though if teachers would delete the answers, students were still going in and finding the answers. I mean, the students, they, you know, we can learn something, but they're going to learn it immediately right after us. To
Yes.
find a way to cheat, they will find any little way. So, so we've had to find, you know, fun ways to adapt to that and work around that. But it's been fun with sixth grade this year. So yeah, so that's one thing that we're trying to do, and we haven't had a chance to really teach teachers how to do this. Not everybody is very familiar with like master slide and all that. So this is something we definitely want to get our teachers more involved with when they're creating slides. It just makes things a little bit easier. And then you put everything on top of that, you know, that background theme, and it makes that part editable.
And so the kids can't mess up anything other than where they're supposed to put the answer, right? And so here they're supposed to point to where the answer, they're dragging and dropping the arrows or giving me the size of the wave or what have you, right? And so, but nothing else gets moved. I mean, I'm trying to mess up stuff, but it won't because of that edit thought. But we thought that we could put the answers in there and then they would delete them. So when the teachers would get them, they would get them with the answers already done for them, right? And and the teachers would delete them, but because they were inside the edit theme slides, the kids were still finding them. Gosh, crazy, right?
So they're smarter than us. So
Yeah.
They are so they're so
they'll
smart.
figure it out. Hey, but
Okay,
you
so I'm
all
gonna
are
stop
smarter.
sharing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop
Since you
sharing.
figured it out.
Yes.
Oh yes, yes. Feel free. Hey, but y'all are smarter because you figured it out. So now they can't do it anymore. So that's some good
took us
thinking.
6 weeks, but yeah, we figured it out.
Hey, we got just a couple minutes left, and I just want to ask this last question. How do you see your curriculum evolving as we progress, as we go on and continue to be a one-to-one district?
You can start.
I was just gonna say the sky's the limit. I'm just gonna say the sky's the limit. I mean, we went to a convention for CAST, which is for science teachers, and the things that are coming, you know, we're always trying to stay on a little ahead. And I think because at PSJA we do set the bar. And especially, I've always gone to the meetings for the teachers. I never really cared to go to the administrators or, sorry, just the curriculum people. So this year was
updates, the TEA
yeah, the
updates.
TA updates, and even, you know, the things that there was one that where all the other campuses, other school districts were there, and we got to talk to them, and we're up there. We are doing things that other districts are not, they're contemplating on doing. We're doing it. We're already there. I feel like we really are innovative. You know, we really are. We're there. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but I will say that we're always trying to figure out what's next. Sitting there with Jessica, always feeling so proud to sit next to her. I feel that we are ready. This department is gonna be ready for what comes next, and we might be pushing what comes next. You understand? And I'm just, I just feel like we're doing so much to get ready for what we have and what's coming and what we might come even further. And I just, like I said, it was really a proud moment to sit there and listen to the other school districts. And we're talking big school districts, you know, and just feeling so proud that PSJ is doing the best for our kids and that we are innovative. I don't know how else to say it. That's just how I feel. Jess, I'm sure you could say so much more.
Um, the question was how will it change in the future, right? So
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, how do you
So
see it evolving?
right, right. So one thing that was brought up to us pre-COVID probably was flipping the classroom. That was an idea that was super big. Every year there's those words, right? Like of the year. And that was one thing that was real popular a few years back. But I feel like, back then, it's how are we gonna do that? Like that's impossible. But now it seems so much more possible now that in PSJA, not only are we one-to-one, but our district is partnering with the city to provide, reduced prices on internet or free internet for students at home, because that was always a hindrance. Do students have access to the internet at home? And now that we've got all these partnerships growing and all these, things being available, I really do foresee us being able to flip the classroom. That's something that we're really going to have to move towards with these new TEKs, because these new TEKs coming in for science, yeah, the students have to actually engage in the science. They have to do the science. They have to be scientists in the classroom. And many times right now, that's impossible because of our time constraint. In middle school science, we only have 45 minutes a class period. So many times our teachers are busy, teaching the content, and the students don't get to fully engage in the experience. They don't get to conduct the lab investigation. Instead, you have teachers, because of time, they'll sometimes have to do teacher demonstrations, which, at least the students are still seeing it, but they're not doing it. It's so much different. When you're in science, or when you took a science class in college, you did the lab and you did the report and you presented your findings and things like that. And then you went back and maybe did it again because you found something. That's true science. And that's the way that it needs to be done. So I foresee, with the technology, that students will be able to pre-learn the content at home, right? They'll be able to pre-engage in the content at home. And then when they get to class, actually do the science and dive deep into the investigations like we intend them to do. So that I would love to see that happen. I think it's very possible in the future, and especially with these new TEKs, like I said, rolling in. Absolutely, I would love to see that happen.
Hey, well, I appreciate you both being here and telling us where we're at and telling us where we're going. And it sounds extremely positive for both, for where we're at and where we're going. And yeah, I just want to say that I'm every time when I visit and see y'all and see the curriculum that y'all are producing, it's amazing. So I know that we are going in a great direction, and it's great, Yamada, that you said that we are, when you compare us to the rest of the state, we're in the forefront. So, and it's all because of you all. So, and the rest of the curriculum
Our
team. So
teacher. Mhm.
just and the teachers
Yeah.
as well. And so can't forget that. And so we're going to conclude this session, but we are going to give away a door prize